In this mcatrainingwebsite.com video, I'm going to show you how to forward your domain name to another website. This is useful, of course, when you want to forward your domain name, your custom domain that you purchased from a site. In this instance, we're using GoDaddy, to your capture page or your landing page or another URL. This is basically useful when you want to basically mask and disguise your link, as opposed to putting your affiliate link that you may have for your capture page system or your landing page or whatever you may have. You are allowed to actually forward your custom domain name to that. So what we're going to do is, this video is based off you having a domain name with GoDaddy. Of course, GoDaddy is probably the most popular registrar of domain names on earth. So of course, this is the most popular one to use, and usually they have pretty good savings at any given time with a simple search of Google to see what you can actually save. Domain names can be as low as 99 cents for the first year for .com domains. So what we're going to do is, first we're going to log into GoDaddy, which I've already done. If you haven't logged into GoDaddy, do so. Once you log into GoDaddy, we're going to click here on all products. Now, of course, depending on this video, GoDaddy does update their site, but you're going to be going to the same place every time. So go to all products, domain, and we're going to go to domain management. Now, when you buy a domain on GoDaddy, all your domain names will be listed here with domain management. So click on domain management. On the next page, you will see a list of all your domain names that you have purchased and registered through GoDaddy.com. So what you want to do first of all is find the domain name that you are trying to forward to, or should I say forward from. Once you found that domain name, click on the link in your list of domains. On the next page, you will see all the details about your domain registration, the date you registered, privacy, etc., etc. Now, of course, when you have a domain name that you're being forwarded, some people may have a question about hosting. Well, you're not concerned about hosting because you're forwarding your domain name to somewhere else, so there's no hosting involved. Hosting is basically when you're building your own website and you're uploading files, editing HTML, PHP, ASP documents, etc. So you don't have hosting when you get your own domain name, so the only cost you're really going to incur is just the cost of the domain name for the yearly or multiple year cost that you get when you first get it. So on the domain management page for your specific domain name, you're going to actually scroll down to where it says forwarding. Now, this is interesting here. I'm going to show you two things here. You have forwarding. First of all, forwarding basically is exactly what it says. It allows you to forward your domain name to another URL. So we're going to click on management side of forwarding. Now, once you see this, you'll see is, where do you want to forward your domain name to? That's the first thing that pops up there. Now, of course, you have an option between HTTP and HTTPS. That depends on what site you're forwarding to. And, of course, in there, you'll type in your domain name. So, say, for instance, I want to forward this to www.mywebpage.com. Now, it says update my DNS settings to this. So, basically, when somebody's searching, it's automatically going to forward them through the DNS service. That's a pretty technical thing. However, some people do use DNS settings. We'll talk about that in just a second. Once you type in your URL, you're going to click on Advanced Options. Now, it gives you a couple of options on how to forward it. Forward only, you have I'm permanently forwarding my domain name, and temporarily forwarding. So what happens is, the difference between these two is that when you choose permanently forwarding my domain name, what happens is if someone has previously bookmarked your URL, then all bookmarks related to that will be updated automatically, such as the custom icon that you may be using. Some people, when you bookmark a page, you see a little icon associated with the web page. Those kind of things get updated in their bookmarks. If you're only temporarily forwarding, those changes are not made. So again, you have to think about that. Typically, if you are going to forward your domain name to your capture page or landing page, most likely it probably would be a permanent forward. You probably won't change it unless maybe down the road you may change capture pages or something like that. So for best practices, you should choose permanently forwarding my domain name. Now, if you notice, there's another option that's called forward with masking. Now, the difference between these two is this. When you forward a domain name, if I were to type in my domain name at the top, of course I'm forwarding mydomainname.com somewhere else, what happens is when they type in that in the browser and they get forwarded to their page, the URL in the browser will change to www.mywebpage.com. That is when it is forwarded only. When you forward with masking, what ends up happening is in the browser address bar, when they type in yourdomain.com at the top, that remains in the browser. Your data is not changing to www.mywebpage.com, it is masked in the sky. So the only thing that we'll see in the browser permanently is www.yourdomainname.com. So that's the difference between forwarding only and forwarding with masking. Now, forwarding with masking has some pros and cons. Now, it hides your link, of course. However, if you're forwarding to a website, a website that multiple people using, it may cause a duplication issue when it comes to ranking in search engines, because Google and all the other search engines don't like duplicate content. So if your page you're forwarding to is unique content and whatnot, forwarding masking was okay. However, if you're really worried about ranking high in Google, but your particular page you're forwarding to is basically the same as someone else in a particular system, you may not want to do forward with masking. Of course, you can if you want to. No harm, no loss. If you're not worried about Google ranking and you're still doing your own advertising, then there's no big deal with that. So you can choose forward only or forward with masking. When you do forward with masking, you're going to type in information that will actually be picked up by the search engines. You have to enter your title. This is a short title that describes your website, a short description of your web page, and of course keywords that you want people to be able to find your website based off of. Now remember, just because you put a keyword in there doesn't mean it's automatically going to appear first in Google. A lot of factors come into play when it comes to ranking in Google. And there's some details on this particular website that talks about Google rankings, which involve, keywords, SEO, age, popularity, social. A lot of factors come into play when it comes to ranking high in Google. So again, you can forward with masking, which will keep your custom domain name in the browser address bar, or you can do forward only, which will actually change your address from the custom domain name type, and the address bar will reflect the new website that you are forwarding them to. So once you do that and you click OK, your site will come into play. It takes roughly about 2 hours maximum for the settings to be updated, but for most cases you're probably seeing about 30 minutes. But GoDaddy recommends about 2 hours for that change to be done. So once you do that, you have successfully forwarded your domain name to your custom URL, be it a capture page, a landing page, a blog, or whatever you have. And therefore, once you begin to advertise and give people your link, you can now give them your custom domain name that you purchased from GoDaddy.